Kaboom.
Our population is expected to grow to 10 billion by the end of this century. Yet the Earth's size remains the same. Slowing human population growth and lowering our use of natural resources are key to reducing the impact we have on the planet. Through the decisions we make about our lifestyles, our numbers, and our consumption, we can all help preserve the health and beauty of our home.
All right. Isn't that an amazing video to watch? I'm lucky to find it. So it's approximate 1 billion per 12 years, 220,000 per day worldwide. Problem with this is that it creates a lot of social, economics, and environmental problems, right? More people, less resources, etc. The global population control is some hot topic words that come up, but you know, greater population, greater use of resources, kind of common sense stuff. So less resources, more people fight for them, increases crime, poverty, famine, drought, etc. Extinction of species start to begin, you know. So, you know, we have this moral dilemma, what lives and what doesn't, right? So humanity is kind of greedy. It says, well, of course, we will live first. And that's understandable, but, you know, put it in context here in Guam as we start to grow. At the Imagine Guam video, when we first saw the governor's video when he opened up, we saw all these buildings and bridges go up, which is fantastic, by the way. I love it. But at what cost, right? So this needs to be balanced. What are the little insects and animals that go away? You know, I hate ants, but you know what? I guess we need them. Yeah. And so what lives are more important? Ours, theirs, which species? All right, next. So this is the population metrics for Guam. And as you can see from 2010 to 2050, it doesn't change a whole lot between men and women. They're pretty much equal. So that's good for us, right? Never like going in a bar where there's too many guys. Just kidding. All right. But the population rise is fairly steady. And from 2010, we had 150-some thousand. It goes to this year, 2016, we're going to have a 163,000 estimated. And by 2050, we'll have 43,000 new people here. Just natural organic growth, not military or otherwise. That is the report provided to me from the Census Bureau. All right, so what does that mean to us? Well, 950 people that we didn't have yesterday, or I should say last month, December 2015, will be here by the end of December 2016. Students of that ratio make up 68,000, I believe. Does that say? Yeah, 68,000. The workforce is about 91,000, and senior citizens 55 years old or older represents 30-some thousand. Go to the next one, 2020. You see the student growth not fluctuating too much. And why is that important to understand as Imagineers? Well, we have to think about schools, don't we? Right? We have to think about education. We have to think about providing for kids transportations, you know. So we've got 60-some thousand of those people who count on our government and our infrastructure, private and public, to take them there, to provide a good place. Workforce looks strong. It continues to increase. And the anomaly that isn't so much an anomaly anymore, seniors, 55 and older, it keeps going up. And you'll see this trend into 2030. But here we see something weird. Students go down. Young people don't grow up, aren't added to the mix as much as they were in the first 20 years. Weird, right? But seniors keep increasing, and so does the workforce. So our economy should be okay as long as people have jobs. There should be money circulating. And as we get to 2040, we see the increment of seniors go up even more. And this trend continues to 2050. And we continue to see the student body, that young generation from babies to 24 going to college. Should be done by 22, but hey, I'm not judging. All right. So what does that mean for Guam? That means, well, we're going to have a senior population that is going to continue to grow. So we need to think about health care, obviously. And these are common things, but when you think of it in terms of numbers, it becomes really real. You know, where are we going to put these people? How are we going to take care of these people? So these are very important things for all of us to consider, despite our team. Climate change, myth or real? You know, I have lots of intelligent friends, some not so intelligent, and they tell me all the time, it's not real, or they'll say, well, it's real. And my answer to that is, what does it matter if it's real or not? Shouldn't you care anyway? I mean, in my house, I could throw a Snicker bar on the floor. Nobody's bothered by that, but I should pick it up and throw it away, And I think it's just the same concept with climate change. Whether you really, truly believe it's happening or not, we should care. We should just care, right? And so this is what I want to talk about. Now, factually, NASA and NOAA says that we're getting hotter, right? In fact, 94% certainty, that's pretty certain in my book, says that it was the hottest recorded year of our entire existence since they've been keeping track. Now, some would argue that that is surface heat, and if you take a look at it from the space, that it would indicate otherwise. Some would say, man, it's pretty cold in here. I don't think it's that hot, but that's because we're in an air conditioning room. Understand this, 1% Celsius, 1 degree I should say, it went above, finally. And you say, well, what's that? I just adjust my air conditioning at my house and it gets cooler or warmer. Sure, but you know what? Animals don't get to do that. They don't have heaters and they don't have air conditioning, do they? Plants don't have that either. Waters in the ocean or lakes don't have that. Gardens don't have air conditioning or heaters. They just have to deal with that 1% change. And it's estimated that for every 1 degree change, 2.5 species will be extinct. And if it goes to that, it doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles. So the more we grow hotter, the more species die. Now, are we causing that? That's the big debate, right? Is humanity causing this, or is this just some natural phenomenon that is part of our world's history anyway? As you recall, there were dinosaurs. We don't know how they died, they just died, right? I mean, we got lots of theories, but nobody has a definitive answer. Why? Because none of us were there. So we can only kind of guess. But we are here today, and we know what species are dying. So we should care. Even an example of being parent. We take care of living beings. All right, next. This video is about farming. Now, it's a long video, and I've already taken up some time of yours, so we won't go through the whole thing. But I wanted to introduce you to this video so that you can go back later and research it and find it. And I encourage you to look at it in its full length, okay? But this is just I'm just going to show you a short bit of it, and then we'll go on to the next deck.
Massive tsunami, perfect storm is bearing down upon us. Now, this perfect storm that we are facing is the result of our rising population, rising towards 10 billion people, land that is turning to desert, and of course, climate change. But fossil fuels, carbon, coal, and gas, are by no means the only thing that is causing climate change. Desertification is a fancy word for land that is turning to desert. Fortunately, with space technology now, we can look at it from space. And when we do, you can see the proportions fairly well. Generally, what you see in green is not desertifying, and what you see in brown is. And these are by far the greatest areas of the Earth. I took this picture in the Tihama Desert while 25 millimeters, that's an inch of rain, was falling. Think of it in terms of drums of water, each containing 200 litres. Over 1,000 drums of water fell on every hectare of that land that day. The next day, the land looked like this. Where had that water gone? Some of it ran off as flooding, but most of the water that soaked into the soil simply evaporated out again, exactly as it does in your garden if you leave the soil. Are tied to soil organic matter. When we damage soils, you give off carbon. Carbon goes back to the atmosphere. But if you do not look at grasslands, but look down into them, you find that most of the soil in that grassland that you've just seen is bare and covered with a crust of algae, leading to increased runoff and evaporation. That is the cancer of desertification that we do not recognize till its terminal form.
I'm going to cut it there.
We know that desertification...
Cut it there. All right. What can we learn from his conversation? Well, look, what he's talking about is that land is getting arid, right? And we don't really worry about that because we're in a humid environment. But in fact, if you get a copy of the Kilman report, he is saying in that report that even our islands will start to get drought and arid, and it would create problems for our ecosystem. Now, how do we do that? We don't have the problems of Mr. Alan Saber, who's dealing with U.S. national forests, areas that are drying up in the West Coast or in Africa, right? And his presentation at TED Talks is pretty amazing, what he claims to have been able to do. Now, again, I'm not here to glorify one person or criticize another. Watch it and make your own opinion, okay? But what is true is what we see today. It's raining today, and I'm kind of betting that there's going to be a flood by Hyatt or by the Sandcastle. And why is that? Well, we talk about drain water and all that, but, you know, man-made problems, right? I think. Too much concrete, maybe, you know. So we can use the environment, and this is his point of his presentation. Let's just let nature's rules dictate how we build. Kind of makes sense to me, right? Don't try to force or reverse nature. Work with it is essentially his biggest topic. Now, particularly for him, he's very interested in the soil. While we are always talking about air and water quality, his point is, hey, you got to have soil to grow food. And so his primary concern is soil. And I touch on this because there's a little bit of connection to it later in my presentation about soil. And the governor touched on it, saying, hey, we used to be an island full of farmers, and we made our own sustenance. We were able to grow a lot of things. Restaurateurs that I see here, Chris, hi. I saw Pika and so forth. I want to in the hotels. Wouldn't you love it to have fresh stuff to serve instead of having to bring everything? You know, I did a charity dinner in the Philippines where I was helping them on the Pasig River. And I took my part house and I served them menu donors. They said, well, these are amazing, you know. Where did you get all these ingredients, et cetera, et cetera? I said, well, the theme of the menu, I didn't tell you, was that every single one of those things you could have actually gotten from the backyard, but you can't anymore because your rivers are polluted. And now you're flying them from all over the world when you didn't have to, if you just took care of your business from the very get-go, right? And so that is a lesson in food. I mean, it's just food. But when they don't make it anymore, it's going to get really important, isn't it? So we need to be paying attention to soil. Okay. All right, anyway, we'll go through that. Now, Future 50. I have been asked to talk about what it is going to happen in the next futurism. I know we all do. We always kind of wish. But here's the thing. There's like, oh, 2050, the future's here. No, it's just happening every single day, right? And if you're not paying attention, it kind of creeps up on you. And, you know, and great minds are guilty of this. You know, many of you have smartphones, and you use an iPhone or an Android phone or whatever your inclination. Doesn't matter. Point is, there was a time where all these people in the mobile game, the mobile phone game, were, you know, just doing flip phones and candy bar phones and Motorola and Nokia, and these guys were all kind of creating their little thing and doing the same thing over and over, just changing the color. Then here comes Apple, kind of reinventing things. The future was delivered But it wasn't, right? They developed it over a period of 10 years or whatever it was that they revealed later. And the future arrived. There was no countdown. There wasn't like, ta-da. It was being developed. And the guys that fell asleep in the wheel, well, they're gone now, isn't it? Motorola and Nokia, two of the most dominant mobile handset developers of the world, are just bit players now. And other companies who had foreseen the future and worked diligently day in and day out did it. So the Motorola and Nokia executives, you know, the future did arrive on them while they were eating corned beef fried rice. And they went out of business. Okay. So technology, that's my segue into technology. All right. So technology to me is, if the environment is the natural world affected by humanity, then technology is the unnatural world created by humanity. Okay? All right.
I want from the future flying cars because we're always going to be in traffic a lot. We won't get to work soon and we won't get to school here on time.
That's my daughter, Simone. And she, if you couldn't hear her, she says she wants flying cars. We all want flying cars. I get, you know, except for the people that actually make cars. I think they really like tires. They must. I mean, it's been so long since Henry Ford invented the car, we're still using a wheel, right? I think I saw something here that says, you know, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. I think it was on the first page. You know, let's discover something that doesn't require wheels. About tearing out and smelling that rubber. So I don't. Is one of many trains that are being invented right now. That doesn't look very comfortable, does it? And as much as I like you all here today, I'm not sure I want to sit that closely to you on the first time and the first chance meeting. Mark, I'll sit with you though. All right. This is the Airbus, and they're developing glass that would change color, and glass that's strong enough to withstand the pressures of the air. And what's great about that is if you've seen the basis of this is like you don't need blinds anymore. That's kind of the concept there, where they can turn on and off the electrostatic in the glass, revealing the entire cabin and so forth. They're also kind of goofing around with seats that will change, and they're modular on their own. So if the plane isn't full, you know, and there's not a mad dash to get to the 3-aisle, you know, where you can lay down. The plane would adjust on its own, theoretically. All right. Cars will look like this, hopefully. That's kind of neat. It's part car, part jet, and part awesome. Magnetic levitation, right? So the roads will be lined with magnets, and then using reverse magnetic physics pushes the car up, and air propulsion. Well, we have these now. That's not the future phone, but they're testing. So waves. They're also kind of goofing around with seats that will change, and they're modular on their own. So if the plane isn't full, you know, and there's not a mad dash to get to the 3-aisle, you know, where you can lay down. The plane would adjust on its own, theoretically. All right. Cars will look like this, hopefully. That's kind of neat. It's part car, part jet, and part awesome. Magnetic levitation, right? So the roads will be lined with magnets, and then using reverse magnetic physics pushes the car up, and air propulsion. Well, we have these now. That's not the future phone, but they're testing. So waves look like this, hopefully. That's kind of neat. It's part car, part jet, and part awesome. Magnetic levitation, right? So the roads will be lined with magnets, and then using reverse magnetic physics pushes the car up, and air propulsion. Well, we have these now. That's not the future phone, but they're testing. So waves. So waves, waves, waves.